Good afternoon, and welcome to the Exeter Author Podcast. Today, we are proud to present to you a special author interaction session featuring Dr. Paromita Bhattacharya, a distinguished clinical psychologist with extensive experience working with correctional facility inmates. Dr. Bhattacharya brings a deeply nuanced understanding of the human mind, trauma, manipulation, and emotional vulnerability. Her book, Scars Beneath the Silence, published by Exeter Books, explores the real life psychological dynamics between a scammer and a housewife, delving into the emotional and mental landscapes of both the deceiver and the deceived. Today, we're delighted to speak with her about the inspirations, challenges, and insights behind her compelling work. Welcome on board, ma'am.
Hello.
I'm sure our audience will have their own key takeaways from the podcast,
Sure.
from the value that you provide them. So, to begin the conversation, my first question to you would be: as a clinical psychologist who has worked closely with correctional facility inmates, what inspired you to write Scars Beneath the Silence?
See, there have been many inspiration behind writing this book. Working with prisoners, working with the prison inmates is something which is it's a wonderful journey, I would say. And everybody none of us are born criminal. People are actually criminal due to situations. So I wanted to bring out the actually the main protagonist of the book was a lady and also a man who is basically a prisoner. How he has been prisoned and how he has tried to actually gulf upon the woman who is the main protagonist of this book. So the inspiration is basically people who are not born criminal. How situation has made them criminal is something which I wanted to bring out of this. From this book, it showcases that how a criminal is made, not born.
All right, ma'am, your answer to the question brings me to ask you another question, which was not in the questionnaire
Mhm.
before, which is I am also, like all other people, I'm also into these psychological crime thrillers
Mm.
and documentaries. And I was recently watching, I think, Ed Gein's story and Dahmer,
Mm.
who were two of America's very sensational
Yes.
psychological criminals. So, would you say the same thing for all of these criminals, that they were not criminally born; they were made criminals by society and by other people's actions?
Certainly, because criminals are never born. Criminals are created due to situations, and situation make a person criminal, situation make a person poisonous, situation make a person exploited. So it is the situation which actually converts a person whom he or she is. A personality of a person is developed by the environment which he or she is in. So that is very, very important, in which environment he or she is growing, what type of friend circle he or she is having, and what is the right culture or right parenting which is happening for that individual. These are the three main constituents for any individual to become or to develop a proper personality or a character.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I have no place to agree, but yeah, your words do match. Also, like in those documentaries, also, I think most of these criminals have had very dominant relationships with their parents
Mhm.
and their mother figure. So that is, I think, has to play a key role in how their personality is shaped later on in life.
Yes.
So my second question to you would be: the book explores the psychological dimensions of both the scammer and the scammed. What drew you towards examining both perspectives instead of presenting a one-sided narrative?
See, it is very important that the life of a scammer, I won't call that person to be a scammer. I would rather call that person to be a prisoner, because a person is not in the present only physically. A person is present also mentally. So when a person is in the prison, because I have been working very closely with the prison inmates, I understand the psychological trauma these people go through every day, every moment. So this gentleman who was in the prison for such a long time, nearly 10 years, is not a matter of joke. So after he comes out, obviously he will look out for survival, and for survival, come may how, he just got hold of that female protagonist and wanted to hang around with her and hook up with her, and that's how the story went on. So obviously it is very important for me to show the both side of the coin instead of showing one side of the coin. So hence, two protagonists were there in my book.
Your book reminds me of this movie called Labor Day, starring Kate Winslet,
Yes.
where the director explored a similar theme, uh, but uh, uh, but in that particular also in some aspects this this David Copperfield, how the protagonist David had
Mm.
this bond with that criminal
Yes.
who 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 ran out of prison, and how they are not evil innately, but it's how they react to different situations and how they are so traumatized that they act a certain way. Also, what you said earlier while you were answering, which is the person who is uh, the person who is victimizing someone
Mhm.
is also a victim themselves.
Certainly.
That is something that also Nelson Mandela explores in in his autobiography called A Long Walk to Freedom.
Yes.
That the oppressor is equally oppressed,
Mhm.
and I think most of us, like we think that psychology is all about treating someone who has been a victim of these people,
Mhm.
but these people also require. I think they require more treatment. They require more attention than the people who have gone through who are subjected to these people.
Certainly.
So I think your book does a brilliant job in exploring both sides of the coin.
Yes. It has. It has.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, my third question to you would be: since the story is rooted in real life experiences, how did you navigate the ethical and emotional challenges of transforming such a sensitive material into literary work?
See, it was very easy for me because both of them have been my patients, and I have been treating both of them. So I knew them not only professionally but also personally. So knowing them personally, it was very very important for me, because if you write a story, you need to know the person in and out. So I knew the the man protagonist and the women protagonist both, and both have been my patient, luckily. So hence this book and this Scars Beneath the Silence has been in my mind for a long time, and I wanted to write something about this, because what happens, women in their mid age, when the husband is not near, the husband is not staying with you, staying far away, you have money, you have been successful as a corporate woman, you have everything in life, you have children, you have a family, but at the same time there is a need of something called as lust, and you cannot deny it is very much important in everyone's life. So that is where the void has come in from the husband, and that is where the male protagonist has come in between and actually captured and engulfed this woman. So this is very important, because I knew the entire situation, because I was dealing with both of them, and that has been you would say a very captivating woman for me, and that is what helped me to write this book.
So, ma'am, definitely, as you just said, that this particular case or these particular people have definitely impacted you and captivated your mind in a way that you had to pen down this
Mm.
book. So, just another question out of those, besides those five questions that I'm supposed to ask you. Uh, Being in a profession of this sorts, meeting so many people who are traumatized, who are going through so much. How has this impacted you? How has this changed the way you look at life?
Well, I think I am very much blessed to be in a profession which deals with human mind, and mind is more the most complex organ in the body. So, so I try to understand the mind of people, help people to derive to an objective in life, derive to a person who has actually never wanted to live anymore, to show them the path of living. So I show them light, And I think I work as a medium between God and themselves. So I think that is the biggest blessing, I would say. And there are so many stories with me. And very soon, I'm going to come up with my third book, which is also a real life story of a cleft palate woman. And I'm going to bring it out very soon. We are working on it. It is almost in the verge of completion. So I come across various type of situation, and I think these real life story is so much related with us. My first story, Maya Mukti, was about a protagonist, and it was a protagonist, a female protagonist. It was about her life and how she has been, traumatized since her childhood. Now, the second book, which is Scars Beneath the Silent, it talk about how a woman gets engulfed or gets caught because of the void in her life. And this man, who's the man protagonist who has been a prisoner, also wanted to clinch upon somebody so that he can start off his journey of life once again. So it is both ways. They wanted to be in a win-win situation. But what happened at the end? For this, we have to read the book.
I think for both of them, it became like it became an act of survival
Yes.
in some way or the other.
Yes.
Uh, so, ma'am, in your opinion, what does Scars Beneath the Silence reveal about loneliness, trust, emotional vulnerability in contemporary society? You've already spoken about these things about like respect to your characters, but what do you think about the society in general?
Scars beneath the silence, there are many scars which are never revealed. There are many scars which live with us and which dies with us. There are many scars which are never spoken of, and this scar is also not spoken of. This scar has happened behind the screen, and it went off, and it will definitely fade off with the passage of time, because both the protagonists are separated right now, and they are not in touch with each other. So, what happened to the scars? Is it been healed? So these are these scars being taken care of? Who is taking care of, if at all it has been? So these are the various questions we have in our mind, and hence the name, the scars beneath the scalens, because every scar we have in our mind, starting from childhood till adulthood, even when we are aged, every scars are untreated. I believe personally, being a psychologist, it is untreated, it is untaken care of, and it fades away with time. Certain scars even doesn't fade away with time. It is like a dormant volcano. Any situation in life comes up, so it again becomes active. So this I think this book is about the scars, a scar throughout the life for both of them, both the protagonists.
I think the mind is such a complex, as you just pointed out in one of the previous answers. Mind is the most complex organ of the human body, and that is exactly why maybe we also don't know ourselves that what all we have registered throughout all these years. And maybe some incident happens in the future, and we get triggered, and we don't know why we are feeling why we are feeling what we are feeling.
Mm,
But it is due to this activation of the particular scar or the particular trauma, however small it was, that was triggered by
mm,
this particular incident.
right.
So, so yeah, definitely that makes so much sense, and I think that issues of what are your views on the issues of trust and loneliness in today's generation? Do you think we are a generation who is growingly lonely?
Yeah, I think we are lonely within the people we are with. So we are all living a very lonely life in today's world, which was not there even 10 years back. In a decade's time, I see that people are living a very lonely life. A solitude is which is engulfing people a lot. Hence there's a lot of mental depression, mental anxiety, and a lot of mental condition which is happening to every age, starting from a small kid to an adult. So it is happening in every age. So it is only because of solitude, lack of companion, and lack of right companion. We do have companion, but do we have right companion, and how do we actually? So it is very important, and when we realize that the companion is not right, maybe it's too late. So again, I would say human mind is complex. So we are always in a complex situation in choosing the right or the wrong. And we are between the right and the wrong.
I would just like to add what Charles Bukowski said on this particular theme, that when you have no one to wake you up in the morning and no one to return to at night, what do you call it? Freedom or loneliness? I think that is what our generation is going through at this point.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sort of lacking in the communal setup. We have grown to become solitary animals, and that has also, like, we are ingrained with the thought that if we become solitary animals, we will be put up to a lot of success. And that's not always the case mentally, because humans are social animals also. We strive to create bonds, and when there's this imbalance of needs and companions that fulfill them, that is exactly when things like what we see in your book happen.
Right.
Things like scars beneath the silence take place. Thank you so much, ma'am. With that, we come to the end of the discussion today with Dr. Paromita Bhattacharya. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights and your experiences with us. Scars the Silence not only tells a powerful real life story, but also opens an important conversation about psychology, emotion manipulation, and hidden wounds that people carry beneath outward appearances. Your perspective has given us a deeper understanding of the human psyche and the complexities of trust and vulnerability. We truly appreciate your time and look forward to seeing more of your meaningful contribution to literature and psychology in the
Thank you
literary
so
world.
much. Thanks for your time too.
Thank, my pleasure, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.